Hi there, friends. Thank you for joining me today for our yoga break, about a half-hour flow, where we're going to call it quote unquote me time, where we take the time to pause our to-do list, push away distractions, and just gather ourselves on the mat so that we set ourselves up to be our best the rest of the day. So, as always, grab some water, roll out your mat, play some fun music, and meet me on the mat. Hi there, friends. Namaste, and thank you for joining me for this little yoga break today. We're actually going to start lying down, so ease down to your mat to a supine position. Take your time getting down there, get comfortable, kind of press your shoulder blades into the mat underneath you so you have a nice flat back, and revolve your palms up. Now we're welcome to extend our legs fully on the mat or leave the knees up like I have. And if you're doing that, we're just leaning the knees on each other to rest on each other. Take all the effort out of this. We just want to relax for a second. So lying here, trying to relax, becoming still. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Let's do it again, having a deep breath in through the nose and exhaling through the nose, closing the eyes. We'll continue breathing like this, catching our breath, and perhaps even matching the length of the inhale to the length of the exhale. Our breath is easygoing, unrushed, not forced. We want it to refresh us. So whether you're setting your day up for the first time right now or hitting reset on your day, just deciding that we'll take this quote unquote me time as a chance to nourish our mind, body, and spirit. So pushing back on any distractions, hitting pause on your to-do list, and just deciding that you're going to try your best to keep your mind on what we're doing right here on the mat. And that's our intention today. It's simple. I'm having a little me time. I'm hitting reset. I'm setting myself up for a good day so that I can be kind and loving to everyone I meet. On your next inhale, let's lengthen the legs on the mat. Point the toes, reach overhead, stretch your body like you do when you wake up in the morning. Wiggle however you need to. We want this to feel nice, just gently moving, gently waking up the body. And on the next exhale, bringing our arms back down by our sides, palms up. We'll start to give some gentle rotations to our wrists and our ankles, going one way a few times, and then reversing their direction, going the other way a few times. On your next inhale, let's hug the left knee to the chest, just gently holding at the hamstring, and then maybe even rocking side to side with it, just feeling the hip. How's it feeling today? Is it stiff? Getting a little mobility in that hip joint. Noticing if the stretch when you cross the body feels good. And on an exhale, returning that leg to the mat, and inhale, bringing in your right leg. So again, holding at the hamstring. We want this to feel nice, not forced. And then maybe rocking side to side with that right leg. And again, you're noticing how your hips feel. You're noticing the stretch. We're matching our inhale to our exhale. And just generally becoming more aware of how your body feels right now. On an exhale, let's return that leg to the floor, and inhale, bring both knees to chest, holding at the hamstrings. Just letting the back flatten and decompress. Now placing your hands on your kneecaps, let's keep our knees together and guide them around in small circles, hoping that this feels really nice on your lower back. And then reversing the direction, going the other way. And then finally opening the knees out in opposite directions, circling them to meet in the middle. Going one direction a few times. Just working on our hip mobility, hoping you feel a little more limber. And then going the other direction with it. On an exhale, let's float the feet down to the mat. We want to place them hip width, parallel to each other and close to the hips. We put our palms down and make sure our shoulder blades are on the mat. And in fact, think of widening across your collarbones to press your shoulders down into the mat too. From here, we tilt the pelvis so that the lumbar is on the mat, and we want to keep that alignment. So engage your core to make that happen. Take care of your back. On an inhale, flowing into bridge pose, let's lift the hips, but we keep that core stability and that lumbar alignment. On an exhale, ease back down to the mat. On an inhale, let's lift back up. Exhale, ease it back down. Start to flow with your movement, matching it to your breath. Lifting on your inhale, lowering on your exhale. We'd like to feel a lengthening and an opening at the front of the hips. And we'd like to feel a little bit of work in the glutes and the back of the legs. Now think of every time you lower down, make sure that you still have that alignment with your hips and your lumbar spine. We don't want to start to arch there by accident, creating tension. Instead, we want to create strength in the body and relieve tension. Let's have this pose 2 more breaths, flowing with your breath gently. Last one. On the exhale, easing down and placing our arms out wide in a T, palms facing down, activating the core and tilting the hips again like we just did. So basically you're flattening the lumbar spine and then lifting the legs up in the air. Now for now, let's bend the knees until they're right about at 90 degrees, and we want to keep that alignment the whole time. So let's think of lowering the right leg down, maybe touch the toe to the floor, bring it back up, and then doing the same thing with the left, bringing it back up. Now this should be a good bit of core work for you because we're having that alignment that we talked about. We're flattening the lumbar the entire time. So we're moving from a place of stability here, stabilizing, using the core muscles. If you're not feeling a whole lot of work here, 2 things might be going on. One, you might be just moving at your knee like I'm gonna do for a few reps like this. I'm not really accomplishing much of anything by doing this. So think of, instead of doing this, keeping that knee angle at about 90 degrees and moving from your hip joint. Now, if you've got a lot of core stability already, this might just not be much of a challenge to you. You're welcome to lengthen your legs and start to move in this way. But basically, we just want to warm the core up and get in the mindset of having that active core in every pose we do in yoga to support the spine. So let's have just a couple more reps of this, making sure that you're breathing. And then gently bringing your legs back down, placing your feet on the mat and putting them out on the edges of the mat, so a little bit wider than hip width. Take a deep breath in and then gently float your knees to the left, letting your right hip rise a little bit. And then bring it back up to neutral. Float your knees over to the right, letting your left hip rise a little bit. So maybe just gently alternating, maybe matching it to your breath. Making sure that this feels nice, not forced. We don't want to force a twist ever. We're just hoping to get a little mobility in the hips, a little side stretch, and hopefully this feels good at your lower back. So having just 1 more per side. And when you're done, bringing your knees back up to neutral. Let's hug them to the chest 1 more time, flatten the back, deep breath in. Exhale, release, and we'll come to all fours. So gently roll to your side. And gently press all the way up, turning to face the mat. When you turn to face the mat, let's plant the palms into the mat, stack the joints, lift up through the shoulders. We want sturdy shoulders. On an inhale, let's aim the tailbone up and lift the heart for cow. On an exhale, point the tailbone down and round for cat. Inhale, returning to cow, lengthening the spine. Exhale, arching into cat. Starting to move at your own pace, flowing with your breath. Deep breathing, matching the inhale to the exhale. And having one more of cow and one more of cat. On the next inhale, let's start to walk the hands out. We'll shift into a kneeling plank and just keep your breath going. So same thing, we want to stack the joints. We want to press the palms down and lift up through the shoulders, trying not to arch or round in the spine. And then here, tucking the toes into a full plank, pressing back through the heels. Now take a big breath in, and on your exhale, let's take it to downward dog. Let's bend the knees a lot because it's our first downward dog, probably pretty stiff. Inhale, come back into plank pose. Exhale, take it back to downward dog. But again, bend those knees, aim the tailbone up, lengthen the back. Inhale, come back into plank pose, stabilize the shoulders. Exhale, take it to downward dog, bend the knees, aim the tailbone up, lengthen the spine. One more time, flowing with this, coming into plank, and then coming back to downward dog. Aim that tailbone up, flatten the back, pull the shoulder blades away from your head and neck. Let's have a few heel presses. Bend one knee, press the other heel to the mat, or toward the mat, and then just alternate. Gently getting a little movement in your ankles, your feet, your toes, stretching the calves, stretching the back of the legs. And then becoming still again in downward dog. On an inhale, lift your left leg up, flex the ankle, press through the heel, bring it back down. Inhale, lift the right leg up. So we'll move with this a few times, just warming up the glutes, warming up the shoulders in downward dog. Don't forget your core, and keep your breath steady. On the next exhale, let's ease down to the knees. Here we are, back in all fours. Stack your joints though. Bring your hands right under your shoulders. On an inhale, let's lift the right arm up, opening into a twist, maybe looking past that right hand, and then ease it down to the mat. Inhale, lift your left arm, gently twisting, easing it back down. Let's flow with this. Just start to move with your breath. And besides the twist, we want to be really aware of the weight-bearing shoulder, that it's active, that we're not sinking into that shoulder. So always stabilizing the weightlifting shoulder. Now, the next time you lift your right arm, let's open up into the twist and then bring it underneath your left armpit. Slide it along the floor, thread the needle, ease down to your shoulder. You're on the side of your head too, but not putting pressure on the neck. And then gently ease back to all fours. It's a good shoulder stretch. Inhale, lift the left arm. Exhale, thread the needle. Ease down to the left shoulder. Listening to your neck that there's no tension. And then gently coming back to all fours pose. Awesome job. Let's step to a forward fold. 1 foot at a time. We're stepping to mountain pose basically. We want to have our feet parallel and hip width, and then let's just take a swan dive all the way up until we get to our mountain pose, resting at prayer pose. Let's have a deep breath in, aiming your tailbone down, rising through the crown of the head. Now we'll turn to face the long side of our mat for some wide-legged squats, working on a little hip mobility and warming up the legs a little bit more. So we want the toes to aim out naturally. We want to zip up the core once again. Let's take a big breath in, and as we exhale, send the hips down and back. We're aware of the knees, that they don't start to shift forward or jut forward. We keep them as aligned over the ankles as possible. Inhale, let's bring the arms into it this time. Exhale, pull down through your shoulder blades. So we're having the wide-legged squat, warming the legs, hip mobility, We want it to feel nice. Feet are rooted into the earth. Now we're adding in the arms, pulling down through the shoulder blades. We want to start to warm that area and also let go of tension in that area. We hold a lot of tension there. So breathe big. Exhale, pull down. Rooted at the feet. Core is active. Let's have one more like this. Exhale, pull down. Good. Rise back up. This time let's take a swan dive. Hinge from your hips all the way down. We're not necessarily upside down. We're just kind of parallel. And then ease it over to one side, lengthening the other leg, and then alternate heading the other direction. We're still keeping the hips back and trying to protect the knees, keeping them stable, but we're just gently flowing back and forth, lengthening the inner thigh. And it's some strength work too. So breathe deeply. We'll have one more per side, just flowing. Easy does it. We'll come back to neutral and we'll make sure our feet are stabilized, and we'll inhale, swan dive back up. Exhale to your prayer pose. So step it back together. Feet right under the hips. Core is tight. Let's gently touch our shoulder tops. Give them a few circles one way for our shoulder mobility work. And then easy does it, go the other way. Have a deep breath. Exhale, let it go. Mountain pose. Coming back to our intention. I'm taking a little me time. I'm setting aside this time today to gather myself, to nourish mind, body, and spirit, so that it ripples off the mat into the rest of my life, and I can be kind and I can be loving to the world. Take a big breath in. Exhale, let it go. Now let's step back out into our wide stance. So coming back to the same stance, toes aimed out, feet rooted. Let's breathe in big. Exhale, sun pose, reaching out, hips back, knees are stable, arms are active. Let's take a big breath in sun pose. Exhale. On the next inhale, rise up. We're turning into warrior two. So aim your left foot forward and your right heel slightly back. And then bend that left knee, easing into warrior two. So the thing we want to do is press this back foot into the mat, and at the same time open the hip. And we press the front foot into the mat, and at the same time we align the knee. So a lot of work going on in warrior two. So look over that left hand, ease down to your best warrior two, and then revolve the palm up. Inhale, reverse warrior, looking up, if that's okay with your neck. And if you'd rather look straight ahead, you can keep doing that too. But let's think about just going straight up with it for now. And then after the next breath, when you've gotten used to the pose, option to add in a little bit of lateral flexion, stretching that left side. Let's have one more breath here, reaching. Exhale back to warrior two. Inhale, release the pose. Turn the feet, toes out, heels in. Exhale back to sun. Have a big breath in. Exhale. Same thing other side. Inhale, let's rise. Now we'll turn our right foot to the short side of the mat and our left heel back. Reach out in opposite directions. Big breath in. Exhale, bend your right knee. So now you're hugging your left hip back and you're bending your right knee and you're aiming it in the direction where it goes right over the toes. So we have this tendency to let it buckle inwards. Let's use those outer thigh muscles to line the knee up with the toes. Keep it safe. Best warrior two yet. Let's sink down just a little more. And then revolve the palm up. Inhale, reach up. And again, we can gaze wherever we want to. Let's relax the shoulders. Reach up through the side body, the arm, the fingertips. And once you've gotten used to the pose, if you want to, adding in a little bit of that lateral flexion. We're breathing, still matching the inhale to the exhale. On the next exhale, back to warrior two we go. Inhale, we rise. Toes out, heels in. Exhale, back to sun pose. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. Option to lift the heels gently, Lower them right back down. We'll flow that a few times. We lift and we lower and we breathe in and we breathe out. Perhaps one more time. Good job. Inhale, bring it all the way up. Exhale, rest. Don't lock your knees. Now let's turn feet parallel to each other, hands on hips. Have a big breath in. Exhale, hinge forward, coming to a straddle split, lengthening the legs. The legs are active. We're pressing both feet into the mat like we're trying to rip the mat in two. The legs, we're stretching the inner thighs and the hamstrings. If it's not much of a stretch, you can heel toe your way out and lengthen your stride. Same goes for if it's too much, you can heel toe in and shorten your stride. So find the sweet spot where you're getting a great stretch, but you're not in any discomfort. And then we can relax the back, the neck, the face. Let's have 2 more full breaths here. On the next inhale, rising up until our torso is parallel to the floor. So our hands are under our shoulders. Let's place the right hand at the center spot in between the hands. Inhale, lift the left arm up into a twist. We're pulling the shoulder blades down the back, not shrugging. We're reaching in opposite directions. On the next exhale, bring that hand back down, replace it. Now inhale, lift the right arm. Coming into the twist for the other side, same thing goes. Our weight-bearing shoulder is active, our arms are reaching, and we're not shrugging. How about your breath? Match the inhale to the exhale. On the exhale, ease it down. To come out of this, walk our feet in a few times, toes out, heels in, like that wide-legged squat stance. Let's put hands on the thighs. Inhale, hinge up through your spine. Reach up, exhale, relax. Awesome job. Let's toe heel our way all the way in and turn to face the short side of our mat. Let's reach the arms back behind us, stretching the chest. We can interlace our hands if we want to, and we don't have to. We can just keep reaching for one another. It's whatever feels best for you and your body. All we really want to accomplish here is an opening across the heart and the chest to stretch there. So think of aiming your tailbone down so this doesn't turn into an accidental back bend. Keep your core engaged. Breathe deeply. Let's have one more breath here. And exhale, gently let it go. Give your arms a little wiggle. On an inhale, reaching the arms all the way up. We can interlace our hands if it's comfortable, or just reach straight up. Let's gently, gently, gently stretch through the right side, gently leaning toward the left. On an inhale, ease it up to neutral. Exhale, go the other way with it. Let's do it again. Inhale up to neutral. Exhale, stretching the side. Long, active arms, active core. And let's get that last side one more time. Big breath in. Exhale, release to prayer pose. Good job. On an inhale, we'll reach all the way up. Exhale, take a swan dive down. Hinge from your hips all the way to a forward fold. Let your head and neck relax. Maybe cross your arms at the elbows and gently rock side to side. And then release the arms. Step your right leg back into a lunge. And then ease down to the right knee for a kneeling lunge. So we'll look straight ahead. We'll ease up if we'd like to. Let's think about aiming the tailbone down still. Reaching up into our kneeling lunge. Stretching that right hip flexor area. To add in a shoulder stretch, let's bring the right arm down first and wind the left arm underneath it for eagle arms. And if we're practicing this, we're lifting up through the arms and pulling down through the shoulder blades. The other option for this is you can simply kind of bear hug yourself to spread the shoulder blades a little bit. So matching your inhale to your exhale. And on the next exhale, releasing the arms, coming all the way down. We'll step the left leg back, step the right leg forward. Same thing, other side. Inhale, ease it up, aim the tailbone down. Listen to that low back, make sure it's not aching. Gently engage the core. This time bringing the left arm down, the right arm winds underneath it. Eagle arms, or we can just hug. Find what fits your body. Do what feels good. Deep breathing. Relaxing your face, your jaw, your throat. And on an exhale, easing out of the pose, coming all the way down to the mat. Let's bring the right leg back and ease on down to your hips. Have a seat. And you can stay facing the long way. It makes more sense. I'm just going to face this way so you can see me better. So let's extend our legs out in front of us. And then let's bring the right leg in for a hip stretch, cradle the baby pose. We're opening from the hip to make this happen, flexing the ankle and then hugging the leg. Let's have an inhale and sit up tall. Maybe increasing the stretch by bringing this leg a little towards the midline, just a little bit. And then if you'd like more, you can go into full cradle the baby, putting the knee at the elbow and then the foot at the other elbow. And that's totally up to you. Don't do anything that hurts and don't force it. Do what feels nice on your body. Let's have one more deep breath here. Exhale, gently release it. Same thing, other side. Let's bring the left leg in this time. Again, rotate at the hip to make this happen. And then think of flexing the ankle that gives your knee a little bit more stability. From here, this can look like many things. We can just rest it if that's enough, or we can hug it to a place that feels like we're getting a good stretch, but we're not forcing it. That's what we want to go for. We want it to be easy. And then, of course, maybe shifting it toward the midline. And then lastly, if you'd like to, you can put it into cradle the baby. Many options here. And everybody's going to look a little different on this pose, so just do what feels good for you. On the next exhale, ease out of the stretch and lengthen your legs. So we'll come into an easy seated pose, finding our sitting bones. So moving your muscles out of the way so that you're on the hip bones, so that you can sit up tall with a little less effort. Let's roll the shoulders down and back, palms down. With a long spine, let's let one ear float to the shoulder to stretch the neck. And we're still aware of our breath. Becoming aware of our body again, noticing how we feel. Hopefully better than we did a few minutes ago. Let's inhale, rise back up into a neutral spine, and then exhale, go the other way. On your next inhale, coming back up to neutral. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, pull down through the shoulder blades. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Pull down, let go of tension in that area. And 1 more time. Big breath in. Exhale, ease it all the way down. Palms rest on the knees, sitting tall. Let's have a big breath in. And as we exhale, close the eyes. Paying attention to our breath and letting it head back to a natural, normal breath. And as we bring our practice to a close today, just acknowledging and being glad that you took this little quote unquote me time for yourself, a chance to set up your day in a way where you can spread love and light to others. So that's kind of the goal of yoga, to bring together your mind, your body, your spirit, so that we can have love and kindness for ourselves and others. So in essence, what we do on the mat, we want it to ripple off the mat and into the rest of our life, and to the rest of the world. So go forward in your day and be kind to others and show love to everyone. And that is what me time should do. Let's bring our hands to prayer pose in front of the heart. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. And the light and life in me honors the light and life in you. Namaste.